Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Aligned Actor podcast. I'm Amy Schlurb, your friendly internet mindfulness and mindset coach for actors and creative folks. Those of us that have chosen a roller coaster type of career where we're in it for the long haul, the marathon, not the sprint. And we need to be finding ways to stick with that. And a big way that we do that is mindfulness. And recently around here, we've been talking about energy. A couple weeks ago, I asked you what's on your plate. And then you looked at everything that you have going on in your life and even everything that's just stressing you out in general. And then I asked in a different post, I asked, how do you fill your cup? And you made a list of all the various ways that you care for your body, mind, and spirit daily. And hopefully you've started putting that list into action and you've started to see some actual results from that. You've started to regain some of your energy. You've started to have more energy in your life that you can pour into your characters, into your creative endeavors, into whatever it is that you want to pour that energy into. And I really hope that you put mindfulness on that list because I am a mindfulness practitioner, teacher, what have you. Because mindfulness is a way that you can care for your body, your mind, and your spirit all in one go. It's a trifecta of self-care awesomeness. So, as a reminder, mindfulness is a special way of paying attention to the present moment with a curious, kind, and non judgmental attitude. That's it. So, when we sit down for a mindfulness meditation, we intentionally focus our attention on our breath. And when we do that, our breath naturally becomes slower and it becomes deeper as we engage in the session. And our slower breathing triggers the relaxation response in the body. It's physiological. Our body starts to feel calmer and more relaxed as our breath activates our parasympathetic nervous system. You've probably heard of that. It's the rest and digest side of our nervous system. And our breath also, in turn, as that, if that part is being activated, then the part that's being deactivated is the sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight response, that stress response, that feeling that there's a tiger that's chasing me, even though it's really an email or it's really doom scrolling that's chasing you. So when we trigger that relaxation response in our bodies, that is how we care for our bodies with mindfulness. Our mind also benefits from mindfulness because in each session, we improve our ability to focus in a specific way and to notice in general. And to do that, both the focusing and the noticing with a curious, kind, non judgmental attitude. And each session cultivates these positive mindset traits more and more and more and more and more. So it's easier for us to focus. We become more self and situationally aware. We approach ourselves and the world with more curiosity, more kindness, and less judgment of ourselves and less judgment of others in general. And this is how we care for our minds with mindfulness. And then finally, the fact that we're caring for our bodies and our minds, mindfulness helps us care for our spirits. Finding inner peace is good for our spirits and our souls. It's good for who we are as human beings. And additionally, a big idea in mindfulness is that we are not our thoughts, but rather we're the observer of our thoughts. We're the ones watching our thoughts when we put ourselves into that mindful meditative state. And in my opinion, when we recognize that separation, oh, that's just a thought that I'm having. It might be true. It might not be true. It might be a belief. It might be something that was true before and now isn't true anymore. It might be something that I can change how I'm seeing it. I don't know. Depends on what the thought is. But when we can recognize that separation between the thought and the observer, we recognize our spirit. We recognize that core of us that exists beyond our thoughts. We are the one experiencing the thought. Likewise, we're the one experiencing the emotion. I am not anxiety. I am not my anxiety. I am a human being experiencing anxiety, as an example. This is how we care for our spirits with mindfulness. So, as I've been saying, mindfulness is the ultimate act of self-care for body, mind, and spirit. And that's really important for us as actors because how do we act? We act with our bodies, our minds, and our spirits. So we need to be taking care of those parts of ourselves. That's our instrument. That's the only way that we can communicate and get across whatever we need to express through our characters. So we need to take care of that part of us, those three parts of us. And with mindfulness, we get to do that all at the same time. So let's practice right now so that we can get the benefits that I talked about, so that we can do this delicious, wonderful act of self-care for our bodies, minds, and spirits. As always, if you're listening to this and you're driving to an audition, let's say, please don't do this right now. Don't close your eyes while you're, going through LA traffic or traffic in some other place. Come back to this. It will be here for you when you have time to sit and practice mindfulness in that way. But if you're ready to practice with us right now, I'm going to invite you to find a comfortable position for your body and just start to tune into your breath. Notice the inhales and the exhales. Notice that each inhale and each exhale is a little bit different. So in this way, you can get really curious about the physical experience of breathing and even wonder at it in the same way that you might wonder at a snowflake and go, each snowflake is different from every other snowflake. Each breath, they all have similar characteristics, but no two breaths are alike. So noticing each sensation. Starting that conversation with your good friend, the breath. Focusing your attention there, your loving, kind attention on what it is to be a human being right now, in this moment, breathing. And as you breathe, go ahead and invite some more relaxation into your body. Bring your awareness to the contact between your body and whatever surface is supporting you. And just notice what it feels like to be held today. And something that I'm noticing is that noticing what it feels like to be held today by my chair is bringing up some emotions in me. And I'm not fighting those emotions, I'm not resisting those emotions, I'm just curious. I'm allowing this feeling of being held and supported by an office chair from Staples to trigger this emotional response within me. It feels like relief and support and a safe place to grieve. And I'm finding that very interesting. So, whatever comes up for you in mindfulness meditation, this is your invitation to just allow the feelings, the sensations, and just be curious about them. I know for myself where this feeling, this emotion is coming from. Briefly, it's from the heaviness of the world. And I'm just going to breathe with it. And if you're having an emotional experience while you meditate today, that's okay. I'm going to invite you to allow that. I'm going to invite you to be curious about that. And if you're not noticing any particularly strong emotional reactions, that's okay too. Just stay with your breath. Notice the sensations, notice the thoughts, notice the emotions, but continually guide yourself back to your breath and your experience of breathing. I could let this emotional experience carry me away into thoughts and images and stories and fears, triggering other emotions perhaps. But right now, in this mindfulness session, I'm choosing to just notice the physical sensations of this emotion, what it feels like in my body while I breathe. Just focusing on our breath and breathing. And I will let you know that I witnessed that feeling come on. I witnessed it peak and I witnessed it gently move out of my body. And that's what happens with our emotions when we don't resist them, we don't block them, we don't feed them with thoughts and stories and amp them up. We just witness and allow and breathe. And I feel like I cared for my body in that moment, allowing those sensations, breathing with those sensations. I cared for my mind in that moment by allowing the thoughts, or at least acknowledging the thoughts, but staying focused on my breath, staying focused in a place that I knew would help to calm my body and my mind. Gently guiding myself back from stories and thoughts and things that my mind could have run away with. And I cared for my spirit, recognizing that I'm a human being and sometimes I'm going to have a hard time. And that emotion and all emotions and all thoughts and all sensations will come and go as I witness them. So just staying with our breath, noticing and allowing what we notice, knowing that we are nourishing our bodies, our minds, and our spirits. And that in doing so, we nourish ourselves and our instruments as actors. Now, as we come to the end of this unexpected but interesting mindfulness meditation, I'm going to invite you to celebrate this act of self care that you gave yourself today, to say thank you to yourself for slowing down for a time, for taking care of yourself in this way, for caring for your body, your mind, and your spirit. You did that. Good job, you. And now, as you feel ready, you can invite some gentle movement into your body, making sure to move mindfully in whatever ways feel good for your body. And then, whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Whew. Okay. So that was unexpected. But honestly, I think it was a really good, hopefully, you found that to be a valuable experience. I did as a practitioner. Um, it was very interesting for me. And so hopefully it was interesting for you. Hopefully that practice served you today on your mindfulness journey. I don't script these, by the way. It's not like I memorize some kind of monologue, and I have basic I have beats, right? Like everybody, we know the beats of how these sessions are going to go, but I was not expecting to suddenly be witnessing an intense emotion and then talk you through that live. Not expected at all. But I found it really interesting, and hopefully you did as well, and hopefully it didn't take away from your session, especially if you weren't experiencing any kind of intense emotion, or you weren't noticing emotion in general and you were just sort of trying to stay with your breath and then notice things and then come back to your breath. Hopefully you still were able to practice that even though you were listening to me, as I was going through my own journey of mindfulness. So yes, there we have it. And remember, engaging in your practice, as I've said throughout this time together, it's a really powerful act of self-care that you just did for yourself. Again, it nourishes your body, your mind, your spirit, and those effects are going to ripple out into the rest of your day, your week, your month, your year, your lifetime. And I want you to continue your mindfulness practice. And to facilitate that, I've built up a really large library of mindfulness recordings. I'm going to add this one. I I think I have a couple that I haven't added quite yet, but I'm adding them. And you have the track obviously from today because it's in the post, and you could also just rewind this and, listen to it. But if you go to my Substack, there's actually just a clipped out recording of just what we did in the mindfulness session. But I also have some tracks on the Substack in the article it links up to, I think there's 6 practices that I've just pulled. They're varying lengths, and that way you are set to go with 6 recordings that you can start your practice with, you can continue your practice with. And if you choose to become a paid subscriber on my Substack, you get access to the full Aligned Actor guided audio library. And that has a ton of mindfulness meditations and counting because I keep adding to it. And it also has focusing meditations where we focus on just specific ideas or themes, basically. And then it also has a couple of NLP exercises, neuro linguistic programming exercises. I think there's one called perceptual positions where you take the position of yourself. It's about relationships. So you take the position of yourself, then you take the position of the other person that you're kind of trying to explore this relationship about. And then you take the position of a neutral observer and you get information from all of those different perspectives. And then another one called the visual switch? No, the visual swish, where you rapidly swish in your brain between a how do I put this? I was not prepared to talk about this in as much detail. You rapidly switch between I hesitate the word trigger image, but like the last thing you would see before you engage in a, say, bad habit, and a image of yourself without that habit, like an avatar type image, like an ideal image of you. So let's say you were addicted to doom scrolling, and the last thing that you saw before you knew you were going to engage in that habit was your finger over the Instagram button. You would rapidly switch between that, an image that you hold in your brain of that. You'd rapidly swish to an image of yourself playing a board game. I don't know, but like a picture that you hold in your mind of someone who's like, they don't have that issue anymore. They don't doom scroll, as an example. Again, was not prepared to necessarily talk as much as I did about that, but I felt like fun to do in the moment, so I did. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this content helpful or inspiring, I would be so honored if you'd leave a comment, share it with a pal, give a one-time donation on my Substack. There's a little button for you to do that. If you click through, if you're on Substack, scroll down a little bit and you'll see a donation button there. You can also, if you're on YouTube, you can click through back to the Substack, or on podcasts, I think there's like a full episode or episode website, something like that, that then you can click through to the Substack and you can give a donation there. Or also consider becoming a paid subscriber because, again, you get the full Aligned Actor audio library, all of my various, there's like over 70 audios that you can enjoy. And you also get no, you get Zooms with me. We're going to do community Zooms. We do community Zooms where we get together and we practice mindfulness, and we do maybe some Q&A or just talk about the things that have come up on the Substack, and it's a good time. So I would love to see you there, and take care until next time.